Okay, I think we can probably get started. So, hi everyone. I'm Sarah Reed. I'm an NLP engineer at Seasalt AI. Welcome to our webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about autodialers and voicemail drop for contact centers and also as independent systems. Just as we're getting started, just want to let everyone know this webinar is being recorded for training purposes. If you have any questions, please go ahead and use the raise your hand feature in Google Meet, or you can always post any questions in the chat, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end where we can address any of those, or if they're particularly prescient, we can do that as we go. Today, just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to be talking about, we'll start with a quick introduction to who Seasalt is, and then we'll look at three different systems that Seasalt offers. So a voicemail drop dialer, our bulk messaging system, and then a progressive auto dialer. And then we'll have time for questions at the end. So to give you a quick peek into what we're going to be looking at today, our auto dialers are fully integrated into our CX contact center solution. Your agents and your supervisors can run these auto dialers inside the contact center and be able to contact your customers from there. We also have an independent bulk messaging system that doesn't require having a contact center to use it, where you can send out waves of bulk SMS or MMS messages and be able to contact your customers in a fully inclusive all-in-one platform. So I'm going to go ahead now and the presentation over to Xichen Yao, the CEO of Seasalt, to do a quick introduction to who Seasalt is.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Hi guys. My name is Xichen. I'm the CEO of Seasalt AI. We provide enterprise contact center solutions to business owners in North America and Southeast Asia. We partner primarily with the Twilio. We are one of the best Twilio Gold partners, especially in delivering contact center solutions to cross-border businesses. If you operate in multiple different states or multiple different countries, we actually have this, what do we call it, one-stop call center solutions that's ranging from software to speech analytics and also to automation, including both chatbot and voice bot. So today we're going to show the auto dialer part. This is like one of the most asked features from our clients. And then I'm going to, can we move on to the next page? Seasalt AI, we are first AI company with a lot of amazing speech analytics piece. That's like everything in the CME product. But also we have the CX collaborative contact center. Everything is like powered by our NLP pipeline, by our NLU engine, and by our speech recognition engines, right? And then today we're mostly going to be demonstrating CX and a very, very powerful plugin called Auto Dialer that's a part of this CX components. And this is where we're going to get started. We partner with the Twilio in both North America and Southeast Asia. And if ever you have any customer experience communication needs, contact us. Or if you contact the Twilio, we're going to be delivering to you. And the relationship between us and the Twilio would be that Twilio is like a very, very much developer-focused company. You know, all the red bricks over here are Twilio components. But sometimes customers have some trouble to bring that into reality. That's why we put in those like green bricks over there to build a bridge between the customers and the businesses. So this is how we are operating with the Twilio, right? The auto dialer and the message drop actually has tons of different use cases, right? For instance, we live in Seattle. We are served by the public services for garbage and trash extraction, right? Oftentimes, especially 1 month ago, sometimes I would receive a voicemail from the public services. Okay, hey, we cannot pick up the garbage today. You know what? Like, we'll resume next week, and then do and then do 2 pickups in the same day, right? So Republic services is like serving I don't know, like a few 100,000 people in Seattle area, and then they have this auto dial system to call each person to make sure that neighbors really know that the garbage was not picked up, and everything is like all high throughput, so that people get notified very, very quickly. Another use case would be Costco, right? Sometimes we order, if you order like optics from Costco, if you're running an e-commerce shop, right? So you actually have the order in there, and then Costco would actually call you and say, okay, hey, order is available for pickup, right? During the open hours, and then just coming here. I actually visited Costco to see how they are doing. They just press button, and then the auto dial, the voice messages will go to the go to the customers, which is like super convenient, right? It's already super busy for the Costco employees to greet their customers at the front desk, so they wouldn't be able to talk with each individual customer over the phone. But this is like actually pretty convenient to do the auto dialer with the customer. We also run into the cases of streamers, right? So one big use case would be that gamers are trying to stream something, live stream on YouTube, and then he has to notify his followers by text messages. Everybody knows that if you send an email, that it doesn't work sometimes, but right before the stream happens, like before 5 minutes before that, all the text messages will go out to people to guarantee the best attendance rate. So that's like one very, very good use case. And Macy's, any brick and mortar stores or e-commerce stores would do the same, right? Especially during the big sales, they would actually attract the people to visit them, to shop online, and also to send customized coupon code, right? So that can be all used like via bulk messaging or auto dialer. So that's a great use case. And also businesses can use like bulk messaging and message drop to acquire new customers, right? For instance, like with Brown Bear car wash, they can set up a poster. People just text some very simple words, and then they can just sign up for the deals, right? So from different locations, and then people can track them. And after acquiring those customers, eventually they all become part of your CRM system, your database, your customer base, and then you can later on auto dial them or message drop them to send them any marketing promotions, discounts, etc., and then attract the people back to visit you again. And finally, my own favorite use case would be donating blood to the Blood Works Northwest, right? So, Washington State always is lacking enough blood for the patients. And then Blood Works Northwest actually has a specific agents just dialing people every day to say, hey, your day's due. Please come over and make a donation and be nice to the rest of the world, right? They actually do something like super awesome that sometimes your blood can be used for like transportation, for transporting patients, like can be used in a ambulance, in a hospital, in a helicopter. So those are like all very good things. And they're like specific agents dialing people all the time, and 80% of the time people might not even pick up, right? So this is like a great use case for auto dialer in calling up people to donate blood. Yeah. I will stop over here. Those are all the different use cases, and hand over the stage to Sarah, and she will walk us through about about auto dialer and do a bunch of demos with me today.
Thank you, Shu-Chen. So before we dive into sea salt's specific systems, I just want to talk really quickly about sort of the different ways you can do prospect outreach or sort of do customer marketing. So there's sort of 6 main ways that people will try to do outreach to their customers. So email, LinkedIn, social media, SMS or texting, phone calls, and mail. So I just want to go through these and sort of talk about pros and cons of different ones and why we've really settled on SMS and phone calls as the main ones that we focus on in our systems and our products. So first off with email marketing, especially when you're sending to a lot of people, is pretty easy to set up these days. There's a lot of tools for doing that, and you can kind of send big email waves all at once. However, there are a lot of downsides to doing email marketing like that. A lot of the time, spam filters will catch even legitimate marketing things just because of the way those spam filters are set up. You can get a pretty high bounce rate with bad emails that just aren't set up correctly to receive that. And then even just people may not read the email. People don't check their email necessarily on a regular basis, or they might have put in one that they don't check frequently. And even if they do read the email, people tend to be pretty wary of clicking links in emails, and you end up not getting really good engagement on that email marketing. So I have in here an example of the results from sending out a email marketing wave of about 1,600 emails. It had about a 9% bounce rate, or about 9 to 10% bounce rate. So about 10% of people never even saw the email that got sent out. And then under a 30% open rate. So only 30% of people who even received the email looked at it. That's not really great engagement on that marketing. And all these people, you're sort of losing out on all these customers who could be seeing the message that you're trying to send out. Another way that companies will often try to market is on LinkedIn. You can pretty easily target people in the right field that you're marketing towards, or if you're marketing towards people in a specific job role, that can be a really effective way to find people to market to. However, I think people who have been on LinkedIn for a while probably know some of these downsides already. The internal in-mail for LinkedIn, you get a lot of spam in there, so people may not even see your message if it gets buried under other things. And people don't log into LinkedIn very much. It's usually, oh, I need something specific, so I'm going to go onto LinkedIn today. And even when people do log in, LinkedIn has pretty low site retention. People don't tend to spend a lot of time scrolling through LinkedIn. And so posting any kind of messaging or marketing on there, you're unlikely to get a lot of views on it, unfortunately. Another place would be social media like Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And while this is somewhere that people will often look at and will often see things on, those tend to be pretty personal life focused. And so for some kinds of marketing or targeted marketing, it can feel kind of creepy and invasive to get that sort of directed marketing on those platforms. So it's not always the best place to do that sort of outreach or marketing. So then SMS. So we consider this a great one. We really like SMS marketing or text messaging customers. You get usually about a 90% open rate. Text messaging is something people check very frequently. People tend to have that device on them at all times and will immediately look at a text that they get. So it's really great at getting eyes on the message that you're trying to send out. The downside to any sort of text messaging is that there's not a ton of great ways to do batch sending or bulk sending of SMS or MMS messages, which excuse me, which is what our bulk messaging platform seeks to solve. Then on the other kind of messages people typically get on their phone calls. Phone calls are also really great. It's direct contact with customers as soon as somebody picks up the phone. And similar to text messages, people do tend to immediately respond to getting a call on their phone. So you'll get a higher response rate to that than some of the other types of prospect outreach. The downsides with phone calls is usually with a phone call, it means you need people to make those phone calls, and it can be expensive and time consuming to hire and train agents to man those phones. We also find that those agents typically spend about 80% of their time dialing or leaving voicemails on answering machine systems when they're doing outgoing calls. And so you can run into some situations where you're not really efficiently making that contact because so much of that time is spent on those sort of repetitive tasks that don't actually put you directly in contact with somebody. So those are the two problems that our auto dialers very much seek to address. So the final way of prospect outreach that I have on here is traditional mail, which is significantly slower than these other methods. And a lot of the time, people don't always go through their mail super carefully because there's a lot of junk mail, which is, of course, how our recycling companies make money, is people putting all of that junk mail in the recycling. So unfortunately, this isn't a particularly effective way of reaching out to people anymore, because we do have so many faster ways of actually reaching people. So today we're going to be focusing on those SMS and phone methods of reaching out to your customers, and looking at how Sea Salt is working to solve those downsides to those particular ways of reaching out to customers. So before we dive into those systems, I just want to address there are a few compliance issues to keep in mind when you're doing any kind of marketing, especially through text messaging and phone calls. So for both of those types of messaging, you're usually required, especially with text messaging, to receive prior consent to contact people before doing any kind of batch messaging. Otherwise, you can end up falling into needing to pay things like fines for not receiving that consent. So that's something to keep in mind when doing any of this sort of batch messaging. You also want to make sure you observe legal and regulated hours, depending on where you're calling to. So, for example, the US regulates that bulk messaging must occur between the hours of 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. So that you don't end up bothering people at unreasonable times of day. It's also the thing, you want to make sure that you don't accidentally call somebody at 3 a.m. They're probably not going to be very happy if you do that. There's also some potential new regulations that people are looking at, especially around automatic calling right now. So for example, Washington State has recently said that they're considering tighter restrictions on automatic calling, such as making it illegal to disguise caller ID and things like that. So there are certain laws and regulations that you always need to keep in mind when doing any kind of batch messaging or batch calling. All right, so let's dive straight into the Sea Salt system. So the first one we're going to take a look at today is what we call voicemail drop or message drop. So this is an auto dialer that is completely automated and takes a list of numbers that you provide to it, calls them, and leaves a message when somebody picks up. So this is a really efficient way to drop a voice message to customers that you want to hear it. So the basic cycle of the voicemail drop dialer is for each customer on the list. The auto dialer will try to call them. If the customer picks up, it will play your message to them so that they hear what you want them to hear, and then move on to the next caller. If somebody doesn't pick up, you can optionally configure an SMS message to be sent to that customer so that they can still receive the message even if they don't pick up and hear it on a phone call. And then again, it will move on to the next customer and go all the way through your list until it is done. So this is a great way to efficiently and automatically leave messages to all the customers that you want to contact. It uses one of those methods that most people have and check immediately when contact is made. And we have some options to sort of extend the usability to make sure that your customers get your message, such as sending that follow-up SMS. Or we also have options to do some customer response capture. So we can do this in two ways. One is sort of key press capture. So that's, I'm sure you've heard these sort of messages on phone calls before of like press 1 to confirm your appointment time, press 2 to request a callback. So we can capture the number that they press. And you can use that later to then, in this particular example, do a callback to anyone who has pressed 2. And we can also capture voice responses. So if you want somebody to say something in response to your prompt on the phone, we can capture what their response is, and you can go through and respond to those accordingly as well. All right, so let's hop over into our CX Contact Center and see what this looks like live. So I'm going to go ahead. This is our CX Contact Center. that has our auto dialers integrated into it. So I'm going to step into our auto dialer dashboard and create a new message drop dialer, and we can see what that looks like. So all I need to do to create a new dialer is click New Auto Dialer, give it a name. So let's call this a voicemail drop demo. Choose phone numbers. These are the phone numbers that the auto dialer will be using to call. So I can select one or both. So I'll just go ahead and grab one. Select the dialer type, and then select my audio. So this is the message that's going to play on the call when someone picks up. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this CSAT survey message that's just asking people to respond with a rating of a customer service call that they received. And since I want those responses, I'm going to go ahead and activate a capture key press. So I'm going to capture any key press responses, and I'll also go ahead and say capture voice message. So if somebody wants to say the number instead, they can do that. And then finally, I'm going to configure my SMS message. So I'm just going to say, hi, sea salt AI. Thank you. So this will just send if somebody doesn't pick up. So the final thing to configure is the maximum try attempts. So this is just a setting that says if somebody doesn't pick up and we don't send them an SMS message, try again this number of times before you stop. So we can try customers again a reasonable amount of times to try to get in touch with them before we say, okay, this person isn't picking up and we're going to stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and set that to something low, and then import my dialer list. So I'm just importing a CSV file that has the customers on it that I want to call. So for this one, I've just got 2. So I'll be calling myself, and I'll also be calling Shu-Chen.
Okay.
With that done,
right, to receive a auto-dialed message drop, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I've now created this dialer. So I'm going to go ahead and start dialing. So I just need to set the time. So I'm going to say starting now and going until, let's say, 11:30. So this just sets a time limit on when the auto dialer is going to stop. So even if it's not done with its list, it will stop dialing at that time. And so that's, you can set it at, say, 5 p.m. So you're not trying to call people like into the night or early hours of the morning accidentally if the auto dialer is still running. And then I can also set actually I'm going to set it a little later so we don't accidentally run out of time there. I can also set the number of dialers. So this is how many numbers is this going to call simultaneously. So if you have a long list of numbers, you can call up to 5 of them simultaneously. So it works through the list a little bit faster and a little more efficiently. So I'm going to go ahead and set it to 2, which since we've got 2 numbers on the list means it will be calling both Shu-Chen and I at the same time. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my call and put it on speaker. Shu-Chen, could you go ahead and let yours go to voicemail? So then you should receive that SMS message.
Okay, all right.
Right. So now I'm starting. So you can see it's now started dialing. It's marked itself as ongoing. And we should be getting a call in just a second.
My phone call here.
Perfect.
I'll let it go to voicemail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, and I'm also receiving a call. So I'm going to go ahead and pick mine up. Hello?
Please let us know how we did on a scale from 1 to 5 by pressing or saying a number now.
Okay. So I went ahead and answered its prompt with a key press. And you can see now that it's finished that and also finished waiting on Shu-Chen's answering machine. It's now marked as
voicemail from my end. Oh,
mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
All right, so it's marked itself as completed, and so it has finished its 2 attempted calls. So we can go ahead and look really quickly by just copying the campaign at what it did with my answer on the phone. So if I step into our case management system, we have records of all of our auto dialers in here. So I can go ahead and grab the ones for this particular demonstration. And we can see we've got these 2 records here. So if I click into mine and look at the call log, we'll see here is that answer. So I went ahead and answered 5 on my key press. And so that's recorded here, and I can see that for anyone who did that when they got their call. In the call log, I can also actually see the call recording. So this will have the full call recording for that call, so you can always go in and listen to whatever was going on calls directly from the record in our case management system. When a auto dialer is complete, you can also download an Excel report, a CSV report, on what exactly happened, so you can see how many succeeded and what was going on with each call after the fact. So you can always go back and look at the report on each auto dialer, which is really nice because you can always see what happened.
So the key press is the key, right? Like that makes it like more interactive, right?
Yeah, so key press is any of those situations where you're asking somebody to press a key on their dial pad on their phone. So you can collect that information from the customers if you need to do sort of simple get a response from somebody with the auto dialer.
Right, got it.
All right, so with the voicemail drop auto dialer, it's a great way to really efficiently get a message to a bunch of customers automatically with the only input needed from you being set it up and start it. So it's really quick, really efficient. And so on the messaging side, we can also do something similar with our bulk messaging system, where you can bulk text your customers really efficiently from our bulk messaging platform. So with the bulk messaging platform, you can send waves of SMS or MMS messages, and then also capture those responses from your customers and continue chatting with them and track conversations in that same platform that you sent them from. You can organize your contacts. We have a contact management section of that system as well, to send out different message waves depending on what group they're in. And you can also do things like define keywords that your customers can respond with, and set up automatic replies to customers who use them. So you can get opt-ins and opt-outs of any of the different groups that you want to put your customers in to be able to communicate with them effectively. So the second auto dialer we're going to look at today is our progressive dialer. So while the voicemail drop dialer and the bulk messaging systems are sort of fully automated, set it up and let it run sort of systems, our progressive dialer is more of a partner for any agents who are making phone calls. So the progressive dialer is a system that does the dialing and voicemail, leaving voicemails on answering machine systems. But then if they actually manage to get a customer to pick up, it will transfer that person to an agent so that they can have a conversation with the customer. So the cycle of the progressive dialer is for each person on the list that you give it, it will call the customer. If they pick up, it will automatically transfer that customer over to one of your agents, who can then have a conversation about whatever it is you need to discuss with the customers that you're calling. If nobody picks up, then the auto dialer will leave a voicemail on that answering machine system, so that the customer still gets a message and will know what it is that you need to talk to them about or need them to do. and then it will move on to the next customer.
Mhm.
So this is a great way to really efficiently get in touch with customers and actually have a full conversation with them. It's a great option for contact centers to be able to optimize agents' time. This sort of auto dialer really boosts agent efficiency because as we sort of discussed at the beginning, agents spend about 80% of the time waiting for the call to connect or leaving voicemails. And so the progressive dialer automatically or automates that dialing and voicemail piece to cut down on agents' idle time. So they can instead spend their time actually having those conversations with customers instead of just waiting for people to pick up. This is fully integrated into the agent's workspace in our CX contact center. So they can see what the auto dialer is doing at all times, as well as any customer contact information that's in the case management system while they're on the phone with the customer. So they always have all the information they need at all times.
Mm.
So let's take a step back over into the CX contact center and see what this looks like. So once again, I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Sarah. Just want to clarify that the progressive dialer is actually for agents, for human agents, right?
Yes. So the progressive auto dialer works as a partner with human agents to do the sort of repetitive tasks of dialing the numbers and leaving voicemails on answering machines. But then we'll pass calls over to human agents in the contact center to be able to do the conversations with customers. All right, so to create this dialer, I'm going to do the name, select the phone number like before, and this time I'm going to select the progressive dialer type. So this will just set it up to do that progressive dialer instead of just dropping a message like the message drop does. And then I'm going to select the audio. So this is going to be the voicemail that the auto dialer will leave on answering machine systems when somebody doesn't pick up the phone. So I'm going to go ahead. This is just a short voicemail that says, "Hi, we're Sea Salt AI, and we just called you." And once again, I'm going to set this to 2 attempts so it doesn't keep calling. And drop in my dialer list. So again, I'm going to call myself and I'm going to call Shu-Chen. All right. So
I'm not going to pick up, right? Do I? I'm going to pick up.
Yeah. So Shu-Chen, if you could pick up, because then you'll get transferred to me as the agent. And then I'll go ahead and let mine go to voicemail so we can see what that looks like as well. So I could go ahead and start dialing from here as sort of an administrator in the system. But the progressive dialer, you can actually also trigger as an agent. So I'm going to go over to my agent dashboard, and I'm going to do it from here. So first, I'm just going to make myself available so I can take the calls. And then grab my, so you can see I can turn on my auto dialer here and select, here's that campaign we just created, the auto dialer. And load up my auto dialer in my agent page. So there's a couple different things we can look at here really quickly. So we can see there's 2 contacts that this auto dialer is trying to contact, and that it will try to leave a voicemail if it doesn't hit a live pickup. And then we can also see here are the different attempts that it's going to try to make. So we've set it up to try twice. So currently, each of the contacts is scheduled to be called on each of those attempts. And this will update live while it's calling. So it will update the status so that the agents know what's going on at all times with the auto dialer. All right. So now that we have this all set up, I'm going to go ahead and start dialing. So once again, start it now and have it end by 12. And I'll once again do 2 dialers. So it will try calling both me and Shu-Chen.
At the same time to save agents.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and save that. And it will go ahead and start. So we'll see in a second here as it starts dialing. You can see it's dialing Shu-Chen and it's also dialing me. So I'm going to let mine go to voicemail.
Okay, I got it. I got it. I got the phone.
Go ahead and pick it up. Oh, it didn't hear a person, so it wasn't sure what to do with that one. So let mine go to voicemail.
Yeah, I think you got the other key capture here.
But you need to say hello.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, I got the voicemail. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't tell you're human. All right. So
Second try.
Yeah. Go ahead and pick it up and say hello.
Hello. All right. Yeah.
All right. So you can see it's gone to voicemail for mine twice now. Since I didn't pick it up, it went ahead and tried to leave a voicemail. So now
You got me. Yeah.
Yeah, we can see Shu Chen's call is coming. Hello, Shu Chen. All right, so perfect. So it went ahead and sent mine to voicemail and has been leaving voicemails on my phone since I wasn't picking up. But now Shu Chen picked up the phone. It could tell that he was a person. And so it went ahead and transferred it over to me. So we can see I'm on the phone with him now. And as the agent, I can now have that conversation with him and talk to him about whatever it is that we need to talk about and the reason that I am dialing today. You can also see here in our case management system in the middle, it's gone ahead and pulled up any records that we currently have on Shu Chen. So that as the agent, I can see all the information we currently have in the system and can confidently and knowledgeably have the conversation that I need to have. All right, so I can go ahead and hang up this call now.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Like the first attempt, it failed because I didn't pick it up. And I was like detected as a machine, right? So that actually showed failed on the failure as on the top right, the top left. I'm sorry, bottom right corner.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So it got a pickup, but it couldn't tell if you were human or an answering machine because it didn't hear a voice. So yeah,
Right.
It went ahead and tried again, and the second time was able to get you and correctly transfer you over. So you can see now that it's done. The progress bar has updated and now shows that this auto dialer is complete. And you can see these were updating as well during that dialing session. So you can see on the first attempt, we got one voicemail and one failed, and on the second, one connected and one voicemail. All right, fantastic. So then also, if I step back into the auto dialer dashboard again as an administrator, you can see, again, I have the ability to download a report on what was going on with this. I can go ahead and download that really quick and we can take a look. And also have a little bit of information about the success rate. So we had one successful contact and we had one contact that went to voicemail. And so a little information about what was going on with that call. So when you can also take a look at the report. And so for each of those contacts, you can then see who you're trying to contact and how many times it needed to try to contact them, which is really great information as just a general report. Okay. So with these systems, we are sort of able to tackle some of those issues that we were talking about at the beginning with texting and with calling your customers. So with messaging, the Sea-Salt AI is able to provide a platform where you can really easily set up and send bulk SMS and MMS messages and get that 90% open rate on those different sends And with our auto dialers, we're able to address those issues of sort of expensive and time-consuming agent hiring and training. Since with the voicemail drop, you can actually do the whole thing with one person. And with the progressive dialer, we can really address that 80% idle time, just doing the dialing and waiting for people to pick up and leaving voicemails, because those repetitive tasks are then taken over by the auto dialer, leaving your human agents free to actually spend their time having conversations with your customers. So if we look back at some of those use cases that Shuchen was talking about earlier, Republic Services sending out all of those messages to their customers, letting them know that there wasn't going to be a pickup that day, is a perfect use case for voicemail drop, because they're able to call all of their customers, leave that message, and then also leave SMS messages if they're not able to get people on the line. With one click, they can automatically make all of those calls. Similarly, the Costco use case is also a perfect use case for voicemail drop. With the click of a button, all of those calls go out, and everyone that needs to be notified gets notified. Some of these other use cases, so for instance, a streamer who needs to contact a bunch of subscribers across different platforms can unify all of that messaging onto a bulk messaging system, where they can organize the subscribers that they want to send that message to and want to notify about their stream, and send that all out with bulk messaging. Similarly, with Macy's doing that marketing, they can gather all of their customers that they want to send coupon codes to, and go ahead and let them know through a bulk messaging send. And similarly, again, with our Brown Bear car wash, they can set up their number so that when people text in with that keyword that they've configured, it will automatically put them in their contacts and label them as interested in getting those deals. And then they can later use those contacts to send out a wave with deals and let people know what's going on. Finally, with Bloodworks Northwest, this is a perfect use case for a progressive dialer, because this is a use case that needs a little more of a conversation. They need people to have that conversation with people who are interested and make sure that they are eligible and schedule time. So the progressive dialer can take over the process of making the calls for a whole list of people, and leaving a voicemail message to try to get some people to call back if they don't pick up, but then pass people over to a live agent when they pick up to have a conversation, get people signed up, and get them in to donate blood. Right. So I think we've got about 10 minutes now. So if anyone's got some questions, we can go ahead and address those now.
I have a question here, especially on the client consent part, right? Like, what is the U.S. regulations or the Washington State regulations, and how can people be very cautiously and ethically use the auto data and message drop?
Yeah, so the US regulations are that for any kind of bulk messaging, you need essentially an opt-in before you send out those bulk messages. So you need permission from the user through a sign-up or through an opt-in to send messages.
Okay, got it. All right, I guess that's all for today. Then thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sarah, for the fantastic demo. And as we said before, auto dialer has been the most requested features from all the contact center operators. I really, we are very, very excited to ship out this feature to our existing customers, and also for the audience. If you anytime feel that you want to supercharge your agents by using the progressive dialer, or doing some automation stuff to deal with the large volumes of notifications, voicemail draws, and bulk messages, auto dialer is the key. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next month, I guess, right, for our next webinar.